Today I'm going through more papers from my 50 moving boxes of old creative work, family history, tchotchkes, mementos, things I picked up over the last 70 years. This stack that I'm going to document today has dates on it in May of 1973. My mom always said, date everything, she said, because you're going to want to know when it was made so you can put it in context of your life and in context of each other with the papers and see how your ideas went forward. She was right, and I took her advice. So this first one starts out, and I won't give you all the dates unless it changes from the year, May 31st, 1973. And this is a stack of my creative notions back when I was 20 years old. Okay. Out there is a whole world. Let's lock the doors and windows and make sure it doesn't get in here. Well, 20, what can I say? Listen, it sounds like fun is being having had. I just like the phraseology. It came to mind, so I recorded. I've actually said that a bunch of times over the years, and I don't think anybody's ever been impressed with it. There it is. It ran around like a chicken with its head. It ran around like a head with its chicken cut off. But heads can't run. Exactly. I don't know, just silly conversation. I guess maybe I was into Monty Python at the time. All right. Now let me see if I can read this. This has got a lot of text on it. Okay, here. In one world, so it must be like a science fiction. I'm going from world to world. In one world, this situation exists. People were confused. Everybody reacts according to how close they are to a stimulus, like a murder. But they also have many different ways of looking at it. People were totally getting confused. So they developed this system. When someone dies, an impartial government judge determines the intensity of the potential anguish, and then everyone reacts accordingly for 1 minute. The intensity is determined by the distance from the incident, not personal connection, but just how far away you are from where it happened. Everyone picks up checks from the government for their jobs to do this. Even protesters and murderers are on the payroll. Okay, well, yeah, I never made it as much of a science fiction writer, but not much of a writer at all. A girl has an accident, and a mechanic with greasy hands holds her hand in his and consoles her in the rain. See, I wanted to be a filmmaker in those days, and I was for a while, for about 10 years. I even directed 2 extremely low-budget feature films, but this was just a scene. A girl has an accident, and the mechanic with greasy hands holds her hand in his, and close shot consoles her in the rain as the rain is hitting the greasy hands and probably puddling into little things as it would on oil. Never mind. All right. Now, maybe this will go... I was trying to write a film at one time in 1973, and I said, points to include in the film: the paradox of time travel. Okay. 2, every old person was once 18. Yeah, well, that's true, and I can attest myself. This was 1973, and in a couple of days, I'll actually be 73. So I can say I still feel like I was once 18, but I don't really feel like I'm 18 now. Oh, no. Mine is only half as sharp as it was at my prime. The body's maybe 25% as sharp as it was, but it is what it is. Which brings us to number 3, the paradox of existence. Yeah, well, I think I know what I meant by that, is that why should anything exist at all? I think it was Isaac Newton said that science was the greatest of man's endeavors because it might determine why there's something rather than nothing. Because after all, we can't fathom with our minds that there was nothing and something came into that. It doesn't grok. Okay, there's no paradox of existence. That was my thing to include in my philosophic science fiction film, I guess. Number 4, the main authority figure in the film is shown to be an insignificant bag of hot air. Well, that's more my political philosophy or social philosophy. That doesn't seem like it's anything unusual. I must include number 5, a spectrum of emotion. That was big for me in the 20s. I'm very logical, trying to figure everything out. Spectrum of emotion. Say it again with me. Spectrum of emotion. Motion. Yeah, really cool. Number 6. Perhaps a paradox ending. I love paradox. Still do. Still do. Example: he walks to the far side of the city and finds that it is a movie set in the studio. The camera pulls back, and all this is on an animation stand. A freeze frame as the entire scene pulls away to the back of a bus, as a picture stuck to that, etc. Okay, well, that's actually been done. I don't think it was done before this, but maybe it should never have been done at all by the sound of it. All right, 7. The audience must know that there is a conglomerate overture. Oh, that the film is a conglomerate overture for my future films. So that it says, this is my master plan of all the movies I'm ever going to make. All right. 8. Contrast the technical and the natural. Well, nobody's ever talked about that before, have they? Well, maybe in 1973, not so much. No, there was the Whole Earth catalog and Mother Jones. Yeah. Well, maybe I just wasn't well read or tuned in to the pulse of society. Number 9, show that one thing may be looked at in a variety of ways. What are these philosophies? I've been writing philosophies now seriously for about 30 years in a little collection called Snippets and Bits. I've got 4 books on Amazon, Snippets and Bits, and they're all little short truisms and ideals and little humorous pieces. But you got to start someplace. But what a place to start, to show that things may be looked at in a variety of ways. So stupid. On the other hand, look at the political scene in which there's only 2 ways to see things: our way and their way. And whoever we are and whoever they are, they're idiots. And there's only one way to really see it. Well, maybe the stupid little thing actually has some value. My mom always told me that. Hold on, there's an ant on my, come on, get off, yep. Yeah, now he's on the table. Okay. I don't know any bugs in my computer, but I don't want to kill a little beast either. He's just trying to make a living. Okay. Anyway, my mom always taught me that. She said there's always many, many ways to see something, and you should try to explore as many as you can. You'll have a better rounded picture of what it is. Don't get locked into a particular point of view. She was a wise woman, my mom. Raised me well. Look how I turned out. Okay. All right. Here's a whole nother paper with a whole nother bunch of story ideas. A guy is lonely and antisocial. He's only seen every other day. Solution. What's the problem? Every other day, he travels into the future, and one day he keeps himself company. Okay, so he travels into the future and comes back and keeps himself. There was actually a story like that by David Gerald, who did the Trouble with Tribbles episode of the original Star Trek TOS. And it was about a guy who transfers, in that case, into the body of a comatose woman who has no brain activity. And he's there for a day, and then he's back. But the thing is, they end up so that they can share the same day, but the guy is always the one who sees the future first. So she's always at a disadvantage, and eventually they try to stay up all night so they can change the phasing, and she can be ahead, only they split. Now there's 2 of him. One of them is living as the woman, one of them living as the guy, and they're really not that interested in each other romantically. Imagine that. Most people would be, but they split up and go their own separate ways. And I think it says in there that she shed a little tear. Okay. Yeah. So, okay. Is that a tear of loss, joy? All right. So it came as a great shock to me when I discovered you weren't omniscient. But I've always told you I wasn't. I know, but I didn't think you knew what you were talking about. Omniscient, they didn't know what they're talking. Boy, this was, wow. Also, May 12th of 1973. I was busy that month. 4, the young hold the old responsible for everything that came before. That means that every individual is responsible for everything everybody did before the young person was born. But that's actually true. It's not a revolutionary concept, and it's justifiably true as well. Yeah, we are responsible. It's our fault. All of your troubles are our fault until you start thinking for yourself, and then they're your fault. All right. Mother and trigger. That's number 5. Mother and trigger. I have no idea what that means. But I wrote it down on the 14th of May, 1973. Okay, more creative notes here. Good evening. Here's the news. Okay. All adventure films are about a guy who struggles against obstacles and wins. All dramas are about a guy who struggles against impossible obstacles and wins, but he has to be sad along the way. All tragedies are about a guy who struggles against impossible obstacles and loses. And all comedies are a guy who stumbles against impossible obstacles unscathed. That's actually rather insightful. I see that on this I've written potential middle names for my son. That would make this 1979. He was born in 79, so it got in with the 73 stuff. Keith, Michael, Keith, Patrick, Michael, Patrick, Michael, Paul, Michael, Scott, Patrick, Scott, Scott, Matthew. We ended up with Keith Patrick. Okay, so second one on the list. Oh yeah, this is a short one. You know, are you still with me? Can anybody still be? Will anybody what? I'm going to have to look at the. This whole YouTube channel is out of order. I'm going to have to look at the stats on this and see how fast people drop off. It'll be amusing. All right, this one was from 1978. Okay, and it's the French word for rock. Let's see if I can get it in there where you can see it. Hold on, that way. There you go. French word for rock. Stone. Finally made it to Paris last year. It was the only thing I ever had on my bucket list was to go see Paris. I spent 12 days there with my daughter. It was absolutely fantastic. The strike ended just the day before we had to go to the Louvre, so we were able to see it. Plane flight was great both ways. 5-star hotel. Rick Steves tour for half it and the other half on our own. Half in the beginning, half in the end, and Rick Steves in the middle. We saw everything, top of the Eiffel Tower, toasting with champagne. Me and my daughter had a wonderful time. Absolutely great. And I'm looking forward to doing a trip with my son who'd like to go to Scandinavia. So if I ever get a few bucks here. By the way, this whole thing earlier, just bear with me. Bear with me. Oh yeah, this thing about what constitutes an adventure film, drama, tragedy, comedies. These were 1979, and it was just as we were starting to make our movie The Strangeness, Chris Huntley and I, that later, after we've made it and written the story, I realized that before we did another story, we didn't know structure well enough. So in 1980, we started work on story theory, which became Dramatica. You don't know what Dramatica is? Go to Dramatica.com. You'll find all about what we built. Now it's driven by AI, and it'll structure your story perfectly. Perfectly, okay? But there were my initial ideas about structure before Chris and I ever worked on it. Interesting. All right. This one here says it's a civilization accident. I like the concept. That's like a wardrobe malfunction, a civilization accident. It left a guardian to wait for someone to get the parts of the machine. As Jay, the character in the story, retrieves the parts of the machine, he discovers that the civilization committed atrocities, and he refuses to finish it and smashes the last piece into the pyramid, whatever the pyramid was. I have a picture of the pyramid here, so if you don't know what a pyramid is, I drew a picture of one anyway. The last piece into the pyramid, and he's immediately back into the spacecraft orbiting the Earth. Part of the story idea. Clearly, just some notes. Never went anywhere. Thank the Lord. All right. I guess maybe this'll do. There's one nice thing about being totally rotten. There's not too far to fall. But look, I'm sick and tired of putting on the show to let feelings grow, only to be vacant in the end. Woo! What is Jack Kerouac? Look, I'm sick and tired of putting on the show to let my feelings grow, only to be vacant in the end. Okay. Cash register, personalized bank catalog, alarm systems. Can't make head or tail of this. I mean, can you? I don't know. What do you? Anyway, okay. More of this. It's almost as hard for me to read as it is for you to hear, but I don't think quite as bad for me. Why don't you put them over there? Better still, why don't you put them in the trash? On second, this is a Groucho Marx thing. I did Groucho Marx once in a film with my dad and my friend Bill Krasner as Chico and Harpo, and we did a video. It was one of my first sync films I did with a home Super 8 sync sound system when I was getting into film in the early days, and it's pretty funny. It's like they're trying to get out of an airplane, and it's going to crash. And so the Groucho says, "Bail out!" And Chico throws Harpo a baseball, and he takes it and tags a bale of hay that just happened to be on the plane. Bail out. Okay, this was the kind of humor we had in there. Hey. Yeah, I've actually done some good professional stuff too, but I'm sharing you my dirty undies. Okay. Um, why don't you, why don't you put them over there? Better still, why don't you put them in the trash? That's his cigar for Groucho Marx. He's talked like that. I'm actually going to order some Marx glasses. Should do this with that. Should save it. Okay. Why don't you put them over there? Better still, why don't you put them in the trash? On second thought, why don't you crawl in after them? Better still, why don't you crawl in before them? Let's get our priorities straight. See these? They're called hands. Prehensile. Prehensile. Filthy. Before Gretel. Monkey see, monkey do. Well, did that fall apart at the end? No, it kind of fell apart right from the beginning. Before the beginning. All right. Let's move on now. Oh, boy. Why do I want to document this stuff? Because it's a large part of my life. All these creative notions that I was doing throughout all these decades. I tried to write a novel at age 12. I was writing music at age 9. I've got taking photographs. I was taking movies at 12 when I got out of when I was just getting out of elementary school. Oh, here's the words to a song. This song is on this channel, the Melanie Ann Phillips channel. Just go into the channel. Maybe I'll put a link in the description. Yeah, I'll do that. But just go in there and search for the title Judy. It's the first love song I ever wrote. I don't remember who Judy was, and I don't know why I had a crush on her. I don't think it was at school, but it was high school. And I remember sitting on the bed and writing this on the guitar back when I was 18, 19 years old. Judy, you shine bright like the sun above, and brighten days in 1,000 ways. Now I believe in love. And Judy, I need you, but that can never be. So I resign my heart and mind to faded memory. And it doesn't have the chorus. It has the next verse. Now I return to singing and and live my life alone. But like a star, so near and far, I'll sing of how you've shown. Well, there's a chorus I wrote after that. And then I recorded the song on a demo tape and cassette tape. And then I took that demo, and recently, with the advent of AI music, I uploaded my original demo recording and then started futzing with prompts until I got a really nice version, as if studio musicians had performed and sung it. But it's my original song that I wrote, and I produced it. And so you can hear that. And also, if you go to Tarnished Karma on YouTube, Tarnished Karma, you'll find all of my music that I've been converting. I wrote over 500 songs since 1969, and I'm writing new ones even today. And all of them, words and lyrics and music by me, up until AI. And then I sort of collaborate on the lyrics because I don't have time. I'm going to croak before I finish. Anyway, I've got more than 500 songs up there that I wrote years ago. Okay, some more notes here. Keep an eye on the clock. We have like 12 minutes left. Are you with me? Are you with me? Okay, so it's too bad you showed up. Well, if you weren't here, you wouldn't know it. Okay. Alas and alack, nay, even forsooth, things could be worse. You could be in Duluth. That was something my friend Bill Krasner and I came up with. One freak, two freak, three freak, four, five freak, six freak. They're breaking down the door. Back freak, I got a gun. Four freak, three freak, two freak, one. Yeah, and then the age of the hippies here. Mm-hmm. My brush was on the bed. Now you're on the bed, and my brush is gone. Well, isn't that everybody's dilemma? What the hell is this? This is something from school, a summary of the major cosmological ideas, Hoyle, Gamow, and Alfvén, and oh, geez, I don't want to even look at that. Okay, so daily, my schedule was reading, practice music, clean house, work in yard, exercise, ride bike, home study, odd jobs, necessities, and odd jobs, pleasure. Euripides? Yes, I do. Okay, plus one category from the following list: music, writing, or film. I'm still doing that. Just this very morning, the reason I'm doing this video, this very morning I made a list starting at I was up at 3:30, stayed in bed for an hour, couldn't get sleep, too many things on my mind. Came out here, started writing down all the things that I thought I had to do. I ended up in Microsoft Word document. I ended up with 2.5 pages of single line things that I really wanted to start. There were projects that were bugging me because something's holding me back from each one of them: logistic, motivational, money, all kinds of stuff. So I was making lists like this that of things I wanted to do back in 73, and I'm still doing it today. I'm not getting any closer to getting any of them done. Does that sound familiar to anybody out there? Anybody? You? Maybe. Maybe. Okay. You were useful while you lasted, but now you're obsolete. Therefore, goodbye, my dog, and may the best come to you without any help from me. I guess that's after I put my pet down. I don't even want to read it again. That's so insensitive. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was just something I made up for fiction. You never know with me. Oh. I'm going to read it. I did a great song. Okay. I took the demo from it, like I said before, ran it through my AI processor and had it performed in studio quality as real musicians. It's called 5:30 in the Evening. And again, you can find that here on Mellyanne Phillips. And if it's not there, go to Tarnished Karma, where I have all of my music and channel. And you'll find it there just by searching. I'll try to remember to put a link, Judy and 5:30 in the morning, in the description, but I'm terrible. It's basically a song about a guy who's looking over his life. It's really good music. Really hot, and got great lyrics, and and has a twist ending and everything. So 5:30 in the evening, you're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. Take it from me. You can trust me. Oh, overture. Oh, this was oh boy, that's long. Do I even want to get into that now? I'll get into that later if I have time. There's only 8.5 minutes left before I run out of the 30-minute time. And besides, I have to meet with my partner, Chris Huntley, today to work on the Dramatica Theory of Story. We have a whole new section that our associate, Jim, who's been with the Dramatica Theory for 15 years, had worked out a whole new way of looking at things like goal and consequences and prerequisites and preconditions and all these dramatic terms that we use in the structure that are very, very accurate, but they really don't speak to character-oriented stories. They speak to plot stories. So he's created a list of alternatives for character-oriented stories when you're looking more at a person, what they're going through. Remember, a protagonist and a main character are two different things. Protagonist is the driver of the plot, and main character is the one through whose eyes we see the story, we feel what they feel, we care about them, we either identify with them or stand next to them, look over their shoulder, and we want things to succeed for them. For example, in To Kill a Mockingbird, the character played by Gregory Peck, Atticus, same as in the book, he's the Southern lawyer trying to prevent a black man from being railroaded for a crime he didn't commit, and get a fair trial. And that's the story in the plot. But the character story is all about Scout, his young daughter, who has who has her own issues and is trying to deal with all of the prejudices and things in the Southern town. The message is that she's also prejudiced because she thinks the guy who lives next door is the boogeyman, Boo Radley, named Boo, okay? And it turns out that that's just hearsay too, and it's not who he really is, and he's the one that actually saves her and protects her in the end. So the main character is Scout because we're seeing the whole story through the eyes of a child, okay? Child, you like that? The child. And we're learning through her what it looks like, and then we're hoodwinked and double whammied and find out that we ourselves are prejudiced against Boo, who we'd never seen and believed all the things we'd heard about him in the movie. And it turns out he's actually her protector and a really, really kind-hearted, nice guy, just a little slow, okay? And then there's the protagonist. When you put the two of them together, you get a hero, typical hero. Well, that's part of Dramatica. So today's work is in... What time is it anyway? Okay, in 22 minutes, I got to sign on to a Zoom meeting with Chris, and we're going to take this list of our original terms that says, here's what's all the plot-oriented items are if you're focusing on the protagonist. But if you're focusing on the main character and trying to understand what they're going through and how the story looks to them through their eyes, That's a completely different list that Jim has insightfully created. And we're now going to go through and refine all that and bring it into conjunction with the other lists so they're perfect partners. Don't you think that would be wonderful if they were perfect partners? I do. I think you will too when you see it. As if you're going to see it. Don't kid a kidder. A field of vision scanned the universe. At the back of this field, an eye. The eye reflected the light and funneled its sight into a forceful mind. The mind knew the universe and saw that it was good. 6 days' labor had not gone unrewarded. Just left of nowhere, and two thoughts passed yonder. A dawn, a day, a lamp, awoke, and the seventh day dawned. Okay, can't read that word. Damn, lamb, Lam, Dam. Adam, not a damn Adam. Adam awoke, and the seventh day dawned. Okay, you think that would have dawned on me sooner rather than later. Here's a letter I wrote to. Oh, I'll read you this one first. Here's a character name I came up with actually in the last 5 years. And if you read it, you can't help but sound Australian. Okay, here, ready? Can you read that? Okay. It says peculiar, Peculia, Peculia, Pearson. But if you read it together, you say Peculiar Pearson. Peculiar person. Well, anyway, I like to come up with odd character names. 4 minutes left. What can we do with that? Yeah. Okay. To a friend of mine in 1973, friend of the family, son of friends of the family. Hey, Steve, remember me? I got the Beatles' White Album and George Harrison's All Things Must Pass. Unfortunately, my record player is on the blink. Must have something in its eye. I would still like to know if you'd like to hike the John Muir Trail with me this summer. I suppose it would take about 2 weeks. I'm about to buy a folk guitar. I have about $60 to spend. Can you suggest some hints I might follow in order to avoid being swindled? He was a folk guitar player. Things like good brands, new or used, particular shops to buy from, etc. I know this sounds like a Dear Abby column, but it's too bad. What's new? I'm running out of ways to ask. By golly, he hasn't written letters in a while. You must have something worth mentioning by now, for heaven's sake. Please make sure you play the tape I sent you. I think I forgot an E after please in the last sentence. So the S was on a typewriter, so I couldn't autocorrect. Anyway, it says Pleas in the last sentence. Here's an extra E, and I put it there. You can glue it in place, PLAC with no E. Okay, I hope you decide to hike the trail. It sounds like a fun trip. If you don't find the tape, don't be surprised I didn't send it. See ya. Okay, well, all right. I did get to hike the John Muir Trail, not completely through, but Teresa, my soulmate, and I, who've been together for over 25 years now, almost 30, we have made something like 6 section hikes in Yosemite, 4 or 5 of them on a section of the John Muir Trail, and other times just hiking around there. I love that. Into John Muir, into the Ansel Adams Wilderness and Ansel Adams photography. I take a lot of shots like that too. I still have no idea how to present them and what format. I've tried it on Facebook. I've tried it on YouTube, and there's just no way to present them. I mean, I'll probably stick a few in here. I'll show them at some point, and you guys will have to look at them because it's part of the video, and you can't possibly walk away from this. Now, can you? Seriously, no. All right. Minute 43. About CERN and a black hole. Chapter 24. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Don't worry about that. That's from a series of novels. It's planned 24 novels. I've written 6 of them. They're on YouTube. It's called Man-Made. It's about a force, mysterious force, that starts at the prime meridian and then moves westward at the speed of the Earth's rotation. And as it goes, it wipes out everything man-made. Everything from buildings to roadways to devices and appliances and anything that's refined by man-made processes ceases to exist. Genetically altered corn, clothing, Dental work, breast implants, as soon as it passes, all that stuff is gone, and people are thrown back farther than the Stone Age. Well, anyway, check it out, the event. I'll do some videos on that too, and we'll come back to some more of these papers later. 41 seconds. Every time I do this, it cuts me off at the end. So this time, I'm just going to sit here and stare at you for a few seconds. So when I edit it, I can cut it and I won't chop off my last few words, even though you may be hoping it will. Okay,